ready.
All right, call to order, 5:01 p.m. We'll leave the executive session. We'll call and return to the special meeting with a roll call.
Okay. Mr. Rentschler?
Here.
Ms. Welly? Here. And Mr. Van Haren?
Here.
Okay, I have a few opening remarks that I'd like to share with the group today. We want to welcome you to the special meeting of the Miami Conservancy District Board of Directors. As you know, the Miami Conservancy District's mission is to protect communities in Southwest Ohio from flooding, and we have kept our promise to protect the region's residents, their property and their businesses, and our way of life since the flood, the Great Flood of 1913, and since the Conservancy District was formed in 15. The district's flood protection system has significantly reduced flood risk from the Great Miami River and several tributaries across 5 counties more than 2,100 times since 1922. We're going to have a short business meeting that will be conducted first, and then we will hear public comment after all motions and resolutions have been concluded. Anyone who wanted to speak, there was a sign-up sheet that was placed in front, and so we have that. I believe also there is a sheet of paper that can be provided to the staff in case you didn't want to speak in front of the microphone. You're more than welcome to fill out a question or make a separate remark in case you don't want to be in front of a microphone tonight. And by all means, we're happy to respond to those in writing. Also, we want to thank, number one, Hamilton City Council for enabling this meeting to be held in their chambers. Thank you. We also want to thank Craig Buchheit, the city manager. Craig, his work and efforts to ensure that we have a very productive meeting tonight. So we appreciate all of you in attendance, and we certainly appreciate the work you've done to enable this opportunity. Obviously, the work of the Miami Conservancy District, which has been funded by valuation of flood protection benefits, property values are important in that determination. Unfortunately, in many cases, that placed an unfair burden on many property owners who are receiving the greatest direct flood protection benefits. We are listening to your complaints. We are listening to the parties. We've received numbers of letters from communities, state legislators, and others who are responding to the 7-3 adjustment of benefits. Based on the recent feedback and a better understanding of how the readjustment could impact property owners and small business owners in particular, we know that a need for a pause in the current approach. We need to commit to evaluate and explore sustainable funding models as quickly as possible. The approach used by the Conservancy District has been utilized multiple times over the last 100 years and was viewed to be fair and equitable for that time. But it's time to consider the needs of today and for the future. We apologize for not having responded more quickly to the concerns of those who may have been affected, but we offer our reassurances that we will work to resolve those concerns. We are committed to working with the communities that we serve and to protect those communities, and we will work together to create a holistic safeguard against natural disasters. The Conservancy District is here to protect and preserve the region using the best practices now and for the future. And I would say on a personal note, please know that I am committed to developing solutions that ensure our communities are protected from flooding and to ensure that the process for funding is fair to all who benefit from that protection. As a Hamiltonian, I believe that a successful Hamilton is a safe Hamilton and one that will grow, prosper, and thrive for the years to come. The leaders of the Miami Conservancy District are committed to fulfilling the promises of safety and security, those promises made after the Great Flood, and we want to make sure that the cost of flood protection is fair and equitable for all. We will work with all local, county, state, civic leaders, as well as our state representatives, legislators, and the Conservancy Court to develop the right solution. This will take time, but we all need to work together to make the necessary changes to the process and make any necessary changes to 6101 that may be required. The Board of Directors of the Miami Conservancy District cannot do this on our own. We will need the court, our state officials, local leaders, and others to help work together, and we'll work to develop a process that will fund the cost of flood protection for the next 100 years. We'll get started shortly. Are there any other statements that the board would like to make at this time?
I, Beth Welly, would simply like to say I'm glad to be here and thank you for inviting us.
Same for me. I'm Michael Van Haren. Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, the first resolution?
Yeah, so we're going to conduct a short business meeting, folks, and then after we pass a number, hopefully, pass a number of resolutions and motions and conduct our business, we will open the microphone shortly. We'll entertain the first resolution.
Thank you. The first resolution for the board's consideration is to rescind the revised appraisal record of benefits that was previously filed on March 22nd. A rescission of the appraisal record is required to be submitted to the Conservancy Court. As we have heard, we have received several comments, several exceptions, but also letters or resolutions from different members of the public or cities of Hamilton, Trenton, as well as Middletown and Butler County requesting a pause. And for that reason, I am recommending that the readjustment of the 7th appraisal record be paused so that we could take a step back and reevaluate it and consider other options for enhancing it, utilizing, again, best practices, benchmarking against others, and the resolution in front of you is my recommendation for that rescission.
Thank you. Any questions by the board?
No.
None.
Therefore, I will move for the purpose of further examining the method of calculating the benefit of MCD's flood control system on the property and public corporations, that the Board of Directors desires to rescind the 7th revised appraisal records of benefit. The General Manager will be directed to seek an order from the Miami Conservancy District Court to rescind the revised appraisal record of benefits previously filed on March 22nd, 2024. The board will direct the General Manager to use all available means at her disposal to assist the court and the MCD Board of Appraisers to work expeditiously in refining and redefining those benefits and completing a reevaluation of MCD's method of calculating the benefit of flood control on property and public corporations. The General Manager shall report status of the reevaluation to the Board of Directors at its regular meeting, the next meeting, which will be held in June of 2024. The board also finds and determines that all formal actions concerning and relating the adoption of this resolution were taken in an open meeting, and therefore we would move that we adopt this resolution to rescind the appraisal record of benefits previously filed March 22nd, 2024, and to redefine benefits and evaluate MCD's method of calculating those benefits for flood control on the properties we are protecting.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Next piece of business. I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Directors direct the general manager of the Miami Conservancy District to explore and report back to the board regarding options, including but not limited to court or legislative action to create a hardship exemption. That process for property owners who are financially unable to pay the assessment, whatever the future assessment would be. And also, I would move that we would direct the general manager of the Miami Conservancy District to explore and report back options not limited to any court or legislative action to create an assessment abatement process that would permit new economic developments throughout the Riverway, the ability to apply for and receive an abatement from the Conservancy District assessments for a period of time, say that fast, for a period of time to help continue and encourage economic development along the Great Miami River and to bring new jobs to our communities.
So those are two motions. Do you want to take
Two
the
motions.
first?
Yeah, so we want to do the hardship exemption first. Any questions from the board?
None.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Second motion is regarding an abatement. I want to thank the city manager of Hamilton for such a great idea. That's a fabulous idea. Greg Buchheit, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Any questions or further discussion? Sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, the second, or the next resolution that the board has is a resolution to continue to seek federal and state grants. Over time, the Conservancy District has focused, in the early years of the Conservancy District was focused on the funding coming from the assessments, local assessments. Since I've been here in August of 2022, we started, even before that, when we look back in time over the last couple of decades, the district has sought out, but due to limited federal or state dollars, there has been limitations on flood protection dollars. But with that said, we have been able to get considerable dollars in terms of the amount that was out there, about $2.4 million between 99 and 2022. Since August of 2022, we have submitted over $29 million worth of grants. We submitted $11 million for levee improvements to be considered by the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Of that $11 million request, we were awarded, not yet received that money, but what we received as an award was $200,000 from the bipartisan infrastructure bill. We've also identified about $9.6 million of state capital bill, which is still under consideration. We've also received recently the Water Resource Restoration Sponsorship Program Award from Ohio EPA for Middletown levee, and that is impacting the wastewater treatment plant. And we've also sought out and secured a low-interest loan from the Ohio Water Development Authority. Additionally, just since this year, we've received about $480,000 of planning assistance through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The resolution that you have in front of you is, again, to continue on that path, but also recognize the fact that in many cases, in order to receive these funds, it does require matching dollars, and in many cases, those grants may also require an upfront contribution for reimbursement. So you have the resolution in front of you for just affirming the approach that we're taking, but also to take a measured approach with regards to the financial obligations of receiving those funds.
Thank you, Mary Lynn. Any questions from the board at this time?
None.
I'll move that we adopt a resolution to continue to aggressively seek all federal and state funding sources, as well as low-interest loans to help offset the planning needs and the rehabilitation and repair costs as defined in our capital plan, and to support the ongoing needs of the flood protection system throughout our riverway.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. As part of our normal process, the next board meeting is planned for June 5th, 2024. Location has not yet been established at this point in time.
Yeah, actually, the public comments are first before we did that.
Oh,
That's
we
okay.
have to do the next board meeting?
Yep.
Fine.
Okay.
Very well.
So we do have a list of folks who have signed up to speak, and we'll go through that now. We do have a 2-minute clock that we're going to use. Daniel, you're going to assist us with that? Okay.
Perfect.
So the first person on the list?
Pat Moeller.
Pat Moeller, 223 South Front Street, private citizen and a business owner within the MCD footprint. As I said at an April 10th Hamilton City Council meeting, as a private citizen, the entire MCD board coming to Hamilton, Ohio would be historic, symbolic, and meaningful. And it's been all of those. Welcome to a town of hardworking people, where each dollar is truly earned. Our city has had a successful run of smart development, including along the Great Miami River, for over a decade. But businesses are a big part of this city's renaissance. However, the foundation of our success is still fragile for small businesses, for large businesses, for churches, for investors, for homeowners, renters. It's still fragile for everyone. The MCD revised appraisal proceeded without a much-needed study on that current methodology, and that's going to happen, and I'm very pleased with that. The solution does involve numbers, but it's more than numbers. The solution is going to take time, and as well as putting a lot of effort into this. And I thank you for that, to get to this more fair methodology. And I heard you speak, Mr. Rensler. Thank you for your commitment to flood protection, all of you sitting up there. Thank you for your commitment to finding a more fair and equitable methodology. And thank you for listening to us. And if you would, please consider private citizens of Hamilton as part of this process of needed change. Come talk to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Okay, and next on the list is Tim Knob.
Nab.
I'm sorry.
No,
I apologize in advance for all of that.
It's okay. I cannot express, as a seated council member in Hamilton for the past 14 years, and the privilege of serving our city, serving our residents, serving our businesses, the established way that Mayor Moeller had just shared with you in his private citizen aspect is the way we feel as city council about our entire city. The effects that we have had these past weeks as we have all struggled, and we appreciate the fact that your team have struggled with this and brought us with resolution this evening. Thank you very much for your consideration. We, the city of Hamilton, are here to assist you, our entire team in the city, whether we elected officials and or our administration, and all of the assistants, the businesses here in Hamilton, the private citizen, the business backbone of our city. Many of them are represented here in the audience tonight to share with you their perspective on what we will do going forward. Again, we appreciate the consideration, all of the actions that you have taken these past weeks in order to come with a clear, concise, consistent business plan for our future. Thanks very much for being here tonight and for the promise for the future.
thank you. You can count on it.
Next is Michael Ryan.
Good evening, Michael Ryan, 663 Orient Way. I too am a proud member of Hamilton City Council. And I just first want to say thank you to the board for coming down here and having this meeting. You committed to have this meeting, and that I'm extremely appreciative. But I'm more excited about the future ahead that you are committing to. Thank you so much. This is going to be a win for our city. It's a win for our businesses. It's a win for our neighborhoods. And it's a bigger win for the future of this city. So I'm here to commit my hard work and volunteerism to continue this partnership. I know it was rough, but I told the Middletown City Council what I'm about to tell you. Sometimes things have to be broken down in order to be built stronger, better, more effective, and efficient. So I'm looking forward to the future, looking forward to working with all of you, and thank you again for this. This is what our city needed to hear tonight. Thank you.
And next is William Joel Lauer.
My name is Joel Lauer, and I'm a member of City Council, and I am thankful for your decision. I am optimistic. I am hopeful that we will work together and that you will allow us to work with you to create open and honest lines of communication. I believe that it is time to work together to create a new system that is fair and sensible, that works for the people, as well as the functionality of MCD. I think that is important. I am taking your decision of a pause as a sign of your willingness to work with the people and for the betterment of the entire region. I am thankful for you guys. I am thankful for you guys working with us, as well as I am thankful for all the citizens who came out and put a positive spin on this. I'm glad that you guys were open to our citizens. I am thankful. I want this to be a sign that we are willing to work together. I do want to thank our civic leaders who are just out in the community, from Woo Man to David Starks, Sam Byler, Jim Goodman, Bob Harris, Angela Jarrett. You spoke and you were heard. Let this be a demonstration that the government still works for the people. And I'm appreciative of you guys working with us. Thank you very much. You have renewed my faith that we can work with, the government can work for the people.
And next is Susan Vaughn. How do you say her name?
Good evening. And again, thank you all for being here. As a member of City Council and a resident of Hamilton, I live at 716 Maplewood, I am so proud of the collaboration and the work that we've done together. I'll speak personally as a representative of the city who serves on the Great Miami Riverway Coalition, and I've been doing that for about 3.5, 4 years. Just recently attended the Riverway Summit. There are so many amazing people who care so much about the Riverway. I know that's true in Hamilton, and since I've been on council now in my 5th year, that's one of the things we talk about all the time is how can we make it better? And we are at that point right now where there is so much happening in our town. And I see you all, I know who you are. I've met Mary Lynn and worked with her. I know where you are and you want to collaborate. And it is difficult getting to a point like this, but we got there. And I want to thank you so much for your consideration. The plan moving forward, I hope there's a way we can all collaborate and come up with the ideas. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Eric Pullman.
How you doing? Eric Pullman, 4 Sutherland Court, Vice Mayor of Hamilton, Ohio. They've said everything. I'm really happy that you came to this decision. I now feel a lot more comfortable that yes, you're going to work for us or work with us and work with the citizens. What I really want to say is thank you to our city council for standing strong. You guys we all did a great job, and our city manager, Craig, thanks for what you did. And I'm very proud to be out here tonight, walking around with the citizens, both times they were out here, the citizens out here is what really, I think, influenced you to show how strong Hamilton is. I'm very proud of you guys. So thank you for coming out here, and David for organizing. He did a great job, but it just shows how strong Hamilton is, and you're going to be working with a great community. We're going to be reasonable, and we think now that you're going to be reasonable with it. Thank you very much.
Carla Fear.
Good evening, and thank you so much for being here, but especially thank you for enduring everything that we threw at you. And it came from our hearts, and I can tell that it made a big difference with all of you. And I think sometimes we just take things for granted until all of a sudden it hits us right in the face that we all have to come together and do something. One of the things I would suggest that we do for the city is that there would always be somebody at one of your meetings so that you know that you have someone from Hamilton who's paying attention, who hears what's being said and can bring it back. So that kind of partnership, I think, is just tremendous for us. But thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you've done.
Mark Welch.
Good evening. My name is Mark Welch, and I'm from Westchester Township. I'm a township trustee there. And I brought a letter where I was going to excoriate you, but now I'm not. And so, but we still are going to sign it and send it to you guys so we go on record as we stand with Hamilton. And we realize that a decision that would have been made to affect Hamilton like it did would have certainly put ripples effect in the economy in Butler County. And we are symbiotic here, if you will. We all work together as one Butler County. And I have sort of a special place here. I've been investing in single dwelling homes in Hamilton since 2005. And some of my taxes were going up 6- and 7-fold. Not nearly as much as Spooky Nook, but it is refreshing that you listened and that you're making the right decision. So there's other questions that I have. My hope is that as you go forward, that you're entirely transparent with the process. You seek feedback from the people, from the businesses, and that when you come to a final decision, that you've looked at all the possibilities and you somehow or another move away from what you call the benefit from the 1913 flood event. So it's a marvelous flood protection that you have, and people along the Great Miami really do appreciate it, and we appreciate your willingness to look at other means to get this things done. I've been on the OKI, Intercouncil of Governments, and I believe that there's something similar to that up in Dayton. If we can get those two organizations talking together, that might be a good way to help you get some of the funding through the federal government that you're seeking. Thank you very much.
Next is Vanessa Cummings.
Good evening. I want to say that I am also very glad to hear your resolutions tonight. This is a much more positive environment than it was before. It's less contentious because you listened and you heeded our request. So I just want to say thank you for that. And I just want to encourage you to keep listening to the people, hear the voices of the people. And when you're looking at an equitable way to do this, everyone benefits when the rivers are protected, not just the people who were flooded in 1913. So when you're looking at how to do this, make sure that you're looking at the fact that if the water floods, everybody, every community is going to be impacted. So we should all share in this, and if we all share in this, the piece that we have to pay won't be that large. So I just want to say thank you. I encourage the people to continue to stay engaged, and I encourage you all to continue to stay engaged with us so that we can do this together, because the trials are only coming to make us stronger, and we're going to be stronger together. I'm the pastor of Payne Chapel, 300 South Front Street.
Sherry Hoskins.
Hello again, I'm Sherry Hoskins, owner of Petals and Wicks with my husband, 9 Main Street. I just want to say thank you. And as a fellow Hamiltonian, Mark, I want to say thank you for your commitment to us. The residents, the businesses, the community, I just want to say thank you. I know you believe in Hamilton as we do. I know you do. And so I just want to say thank you to the board. I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we can get back to business and focusing on our business and our community. So I just want to say thank you.
Steve West.
Good evening. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Steve West, Middletown City Council, 1 Dunham Plaza, Middletown, Ohio. Hard to follow with what my colleagues and counterparts here in Hamilton have said, but in Middletown we recognized, like Mr. Welsh said from Westchester, the ripple effect that this could cause. If one of us fails, we all fail. And so quickly we agreed to partner with Hamilton City Council. I sincerely would like to thank you guys. I'd like to thank the residents of Hamilton. I know these meetings were tough. I'd like to thank your chief engineer for coming to our special meeting on Monday night. Sorry if I was a bit hard on you. But I know it was long and grueling. But I want to say I truly appreciate you listening, not only to city councils, but all the residents. It's so difficult. Mark, you know, living here in Hamilton, you know, it seems like just yesterday we were coming out of the recession, and both of our cities have just struggled. We've fostered and mentored entrepreneurship, investments, and this was under serious threat. And I had so many business owners, especially from Hamilton, reach out. And so I just want to say thank you. I know sitting on a board and a commission and a council is very difficult, but and time consuming, but I appreciate your time and your thoughts. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I did work in Middletown. A long time ago, I used to work in Middletown. Built a couple plants there, so yeah. We appreciate that.
Okay,
And
next
we
we
look
have-
forward to doing the work around the wastewater treatment plant up there very soon.
I apologize. Next we have Bob Harris, is it?
Bob Harris, 429 South 2nd Street, president of 2nd and 4th Ward in the city. I am glad and pleased to hear what we have returned with, and I want to thank you, and I want to say this to you. I'm proud of Hamilton. I'm proud of Hamilton for turning out. Yes. It's very important that we stand up and fight for what's right in our city. And I will say this again. I was born and raised here. I've traveled the world 2.5 times, and I came back to Hamilton to live and make a difference. And today, I've seen our city council people stand up, fight for the people in the city of Hamilton, and I'm proud to be a Hamiltonian. And I want to say that I want us to continue to find resolutions to solve the problems, and I'm thankful that Middletown and Trenton and others have joined in for what we consider to be fair, to stand up and fight for our residents of our cities. I want to thank you guys for coming up with a resolution, and we will be watching and waiting, and we thank you. Believe me, we really, truly appreciate you coming to the table honestly and truthfully and committing to solving this problem with us. God bless you, and thank you.
Next is Carrie Pate.
Hi, I'm Carrie Pate. I co-own a home with Andy Welcher at 401 North 2nd Street. on the river. We had restored the home starting back in 2016 in partnership with a city program we had here called CORE. While restoring the program, we found that the home was still suffering, probably from flood damage from the 1913 flood. We actually found flood mud caked all under the window well, so we do have buckets of it. So with that being said, I really do appreciate the levies and what you do. My question is, and this isn't something that you established. For my research, it was back in 1917 when the assessors were appointed, and they came up with a method to assess properties and tax. So that's nobody's fault in this room. However, in my opinion, the method that they came up with when they were, it's almost like it was a punishment. So the more damage you had, correct, the more water you had on the property, the more you owed for the protection. I come from an Italian-American community. My father was Italian-American, and we had something in the community back in the day. It was called the Black Hand. That was the La Cosa Nostra, the mafia. And they would come to your door, and they would assess your property, see what you had, and then they would charge you for how much they were protecting you. So to me, that feels like a form of extortion. When you punish people for the more they were damaged, the more they owe. So in my opinion, that contributed to many of these riverfront properties never recovering. And so to continue that method in any way continues to punish people properties that have suffered. So I really feel like there needs to be a better way. I also did some research in that it seems that the Miami Conservancy back in 1916 was established as a public corporation. Something I knew nothing about. And public corporations, an example would be the post office, Amtrak, the Department of Transportation. There's some NPR, PBS, and they're appointed by either in a national way by the government or a state way, and then they can actually run like a business, but they're funded by government money, tax money, but also they are supposed to kind of be self-governing and self-sustaining financially. So like the post office sells stamps, Amtrak sells tickets, these kind of things. My question is, I cannot find any other examples where a public corporation sanctioned by a state or federal government has the authority to levy taxes against its citizens. I can't find it. I would love it if somebody could show me where another public corporation can actually levy taxes against its citizens. And the Miami Conservancy District was given the power to levy taxes against citizens. It seems that's why it feels like taxation without representation and why we feel so powerless. So that's two really hard things for people on the river to and the community as a whole to be able to combat, understand, recover from. So I truly believe, I mean, it was contested in the courts I'm not going to have the right date here, I believe it was in 1915. There were citizens, it was called the Upriver Resistance Movement, and there was a lot of controversy when the Miami Conservancy was first established. It wasn't some easy go. There was a lot of controversy because you were taxing citizens, and you were punishing people that had the most damage, basically. Not you, but the history back then. Well, I'm telling you what, I'm going to stand up here for 2 more minutes. My sister is building a home on just down the street from me, so I'm standing here for her and my partner, okay? So just one more minute. Since the riverfront is now more than just a river, it's one of Ohio's longest recreational walkways. There are boaters. it seems to me that there would be a way to fund, and also, if you're going to tax based on how much protection from flooding you're providing, it seems that you would tax every jogger, walker, boater, anybody who participates on the river. You're protecting all of them from flooding. So my suggestion, for one, is that the citizens of Hamilton take to court the constitutionality of the Miami Conservancy to be able to levy taxes against us. And I think that's just really important to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Dan Acton.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. While I appreciate MCD hitting the pause button, the issue remains. How did this unelected body allow this mess to grow into what you deemed an emergency just 2 weeks ago? This board said if the monies were not immediately received and quickly spent, lives would be at risk. What happened in the 2 weeks that turned this impending disaster into, well, we can wait a couple more years? Could it be the overwhelming public outcry and the exposure in the media? I'd like to comment then on I'd like a commitment from the MCD board to willingly cooperate with the Ohio Auditor's Office Performance Review Department to see what changes could be made to institute some best practices, and obviously there are some needed. With the lack of planning and identifiable projects, not platitudes, what reassurance do we have that our communities now have adequate oversight, transparency, and a defined scope of projects? The MCD's taxation without representations scheme must stop. I, for one, will not congratulate a board whose malfeasance got us here tonight. Our businesses and citizens deserve much better. Thank you.
Next is David Stark.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David Stark. I live at 222 High Street, apartment 308, Hamilton, Ohio, 45011. I am a member of the Keep Hamilton Afloat awareness campaign that maybe you have heard of. And I would also like to acknowledge that I share some concern still with Carrie and with the gentleman who just spoke. I would like to know, we've heard this word pause, but we've also heard this word rescind. What is the difference between a pause on this and a rescission of this? I would like to know that answer if anyone is willing. If not, maybe at another time.
The rescission essentially means we would withdraw the reappraisal of benefits until a new method is determined on how to define those benefits and how that would be made in such a way that would be fair and equitable.
Thank you very much. Like others on City Council as well, to that end, I would like to say some thank yous. Now, I believe it was Mark from Westchester had mentioned a letter. I have some 150 plus letters written by the people of Hamilton, which up until earlier this night were a request. I would like to give them to you so that you may now view them as a form of a thank you. If I may, John, would you receive these, sir? Thank you. Thank you very much. And I also want to say thank you for all the 4 different things that you've, not just the rescission, but the hardship factors and the other things. It is clear that you have listened. I believe that this moment will go down in Hamilton history. I thank you for the role, I dare say historic and heroic role that has been played here. Lastly, I want to agree with my friend Bob Harris, who said that in this moment he is a proud Hamiltonian. I look up and I see a proud Hamiltonian there. I know that I see a lot of proud Hamiltonians here, and I dare say that my pride in this city has never been higher. Thank you all.
Sam Beller or Byler?
Well, good evening. Thank you for being here, all of you, and I appreciate the opportunity to make comments again. I've been on your side of the table, and to make the decisions you made tonight, I know required conversation in advance, and I appreciate you taking seriously the people's concerns. I think they're very real, and we need time to work together, really, to resolve, what's very important. And Mary Lynn especially, thank you. I know that what we all see here is the public part of what happens, but you also lead an organization of X number of people that you need to bring into this process so that you have support. You can't do it on your own. Nobody can. And so I appreciate the effort that this requires outside of just a public meeting. I don't mean but a public meeting and the decisions that are made. There's a lot of work goes along with that. There's much I need to learn about what MCD does and the flood protections and all of those things that I think would be important for me and others to understand. And I look forward to working with you if you'll have us to understand that, because I think that's critical for us to have an opinion that's informed. I don't think our opinions change on the impact, but informed opinions are just worth a lot more. And finally, fisticuffs, even verbal, sometimes are difficult to come back from. And you have our commitment at Champion Mill to work with you in whatever way we can to move this forward. Again, I don't think anyone doubts the need for flood protection. I believe we need to find a better way to assess those costs in a less impactful way. And so for everyone that's had comments and has opinions, our challenge now is to move forward in good faith. On guard, right? But in good faith. So that's my commitment to you guys and my challenge to everyone else here. Thank you.
And our final speaker is Jennifer Albanese.
Excuse me, Mary Lynn. Mary Lynn, we have one more member of the audience who would like to speak after this member. Is that okay with the board? Okay, thank you.
You'll call the person up?
After this, yeah, it'd be Senator George Lang.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Albanese. I live at 806 Dayton Street in the Dayton Lane Historic District. We were one of the parts of the city that was hit really hard, and I know numbers are very important to this crowd, so I want to know the recension. That just means it'll go back to the 2.19%, or everything, we won't be paying taxes at all?
You will continue to receive an assessment.
Okay.
That's correct.
So if I want to show you what difference it makes with how our house was valued. When our house was valued for the 2012, it was valued at half of what we paid for it at $45,000. So that's what we've been taxed on. In the last, since 2020, our house value has gone up $60,000. So when we saw the big tax, we're like, oh, crap. And what I figured is, if it stays at the 2.19, our taxes only go up it goes up to $381, which is a big difference from the $657. Because over the last several years, we've had our property taxes increase quite a bit. So for us financially, it meant going out around the city less, spending less money within the city, supporting our businesses less. I just want you to see that we do see that it makes a difference, and we do appreciate it, and we do realize that property values are going up. I still don't like the fact that it jumped up so much in 1 year. I mean, $30,000 over 4 years and then another year, that's a lot. But if that's affecting one of these smaller houses on Dayton Street like that, I know it's affecting the other houses much more. But that's just an example of how much breathing room you're giving to some of these smaller homes in the North End. And it is very much appreciated. And as I did see that there was a new park opening, and I don't know if like some communities, the Miamisburg Riverfront Park, that's part of the district, Conservancy District?
Yes.
Has there ever been, I know, thought to charging a parking fee for some of those places that would help pay for, I mean, I'm just curious.
If it's we can look into that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Five
just- I know, I
Rivers
just-
Metro Parks is a big partner of ours because
Yeah.
so much of the land that is behind some of the retention bases
Yeah.
that is flooded at high water events
Yeah.
is in
Yeah.
Park District.
Yeah, and I know it's just when I've lived here the longest place I've ever lived in my life. We've owned our house 25 years. And it's just really kind of frustrating when you're a city that is built up on the river and then all of a sudden you're hit really hard. So we do appreciate the fact that you are working with us and very actively working with us to find a new solution.
We have
on
to
this.
find a new method that does not cause that type of penalty
Yeah.
because your property value reflected something.
Yeah, and we do appreciate it. And I'm pretty sure I have some neighbors in this room that would also say they appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Lang?
Welcome back to Hamilton. Welcome to Butler County. Mark, thank you for your leadership and for representing Butler County so well. And it is with a high degree of passion and commitment and sincerity that I say thank you for listening. Not just to the citizens, but from my perspective, what's more important is the businesses, because our citizens can't flourish if our businesses don't prosper. And as you know, that river is vitally important to Hamilton. Hamilton was first founded because of that river and the impact it could mean for trading and for the businesses. And now it has an impact for the businesses for a whole different reason, the beauty that it offers. And it's why Spooky Nook and other developments have gone in there, around there, not only the facilities that were available, but the fact that the river's there. We understand how important it is. So thank you for listening. And for the citizens and the businesses here, thank you guys for stepping forward. Thank you for being heard. But please know the battle is not over. The battle has just begun now. You guys have taken a pause, and now it's going to be incumbent on myself and many other civic leaders to do the work. And I would be a hypocrite, Marilyn, if I did not, trying not to be too colorful, bust your guys' chops. No, verbal fisticuffs. I like the way Sam said it. And only did that without committing to you to try to find a solution. And as you guys know, I only work on business issues in Columbus. This is going to be an exception for me. I'm going to make this a priority. And I know Representative Rodney Creech is here. And what you need to know about Rodney, he's from Preble County, but he's here. In the letter you received, Rodney's the one that went out of his way to secure every single signature on that letter. We have Mark Welch here and all of, you know, it's not just Hamilton, it's communities all around you, because we understand the importance of this for everybody. So thank you, and please accept this as my commitment. Marilyn, I know Lori will be reaching out to me, and I look forward to doing everything in my power to see if we can find a better way forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are absolutely counting on your help and support. We appreciate it.
Are those all the speakers we have? Yes.
Yep, okay. So we'll go back to future board meeting. Next board meeting is scheduled for June 5th. Our meetings are always open. And location and time is not yet determined, but that will be in the published record as we establish those dates and times. I'm an easy guy to schedule because I'm mostly retired, but these other working stiffs that we have to accommodate for. All right, I will entertain a motion for adjournment of this special meeting of the Miami Conservancy District Board of Directors in Hamilton, Ohio.
So move. Oh, second.
Motion made by Mr. Van Haren, seconded by Ms. Welly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.